believe me, I don't love me, love me, love me. Yeah. So first I got.
Hi everyone, it's Violet from WAEVZ AU, and today we're joined by the one and only Soli.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about her latest single, Love Me. So Soli, it's been a while since you have released a song, and to come back with something as heartfelt and as strong and powerful as Love Me is absolutely phenomenal. So how did the idea for this song come about?
Yeah, I'm glad you think it's powerful. That means a lot. Thank you. It's interesting. I mean, when I wrote the song, I really didn't write it with the intention of it being a song. I wrote it at a time where I realized I was just really closed off to the prospect of love. And I'm like, ask any of my friends and they'll tell you. But I was kind of like, I want to actually dissect this more and understand why. So the writing process was like seamless. The lyrics just literally just flowed. It was more so a poem, if anything. And then I'm like, okay, wow, this is actually quite powerful. And I feel like a lot of people would potentially resonate to this. I kind of put it to a beat, sang to it, and I'm like, okay, this sounds nice. It's scary. It's scary putting my vulnerable thoughts to song, but I sent it to one of my good friends and producers, Julian Steele. He didn't produce his track, but I would just really trust his ear and everything. So, and he heard it and he's like, Soli, like, we have to do this. We have to make this. He didn't end up producing the track, but I think his vote of confidence was kind of what allowed me to take that step and actually turn it into a song, essentially. But honestly, it just started out as like a letter to myself and therapy.
I love that. And shout out Julian Steele. His production is amazing.
And he's just such an incredible person. Sometimes it's just hard to find good people out here, and he's just a great person. So yeah, big shout out to him.
And before you mentioned that music is like therapy to you, do you think music is very therapeutic in general?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I'll literally just think to myself, what would I be without music? It's just such a powerful tool for therapy. It's very much a release. I voice things in my music that I'd never voice in my day-to-day life. I mean, even if we're speaking about Love Me specifically, like I literally opened the chorus with the lyrics, I don't love me, which is really confronting in itself. Like I would never go out of my way to be like, y'all, I don't love myself. And that's not a conversation I'm trying to have every day, because it's a scary conversation to have. And maybe that's problematic. I don't know. But I feel like I can do that with my music. You know what I mean? It's like very much my safe space, if you will.
I absolutely love that. And the music video is phenomenal, goes hand in hand with the song. What did you want the music video to convey about the track?
Oh, I'm so glad you think so. Thank you. And shout out to Ivy, because she's the one that directed the music video. It's so funny because a lot of people after the music video was released, and even like some of my close friends are like, Soli, who's this about? Who broke your heart? Whose heart did you break? Like, who's the man? And I'm like, it's so funny because this song, Love Me, and I can understand why people would think it's about a specific someone, but it actually isn't. It's not about a specific relationship or situationship that I've experienced. It's more so speaking on my approach to love thus far. And I really wanted like a male character to help tell that story. So I knew that was necessary. I didn't know in what capacity. And that's where me and Ivy kind of sat down, Ivy, the director, sat down and thought, okay, how are we going to involve a male? Like, why is that important? Ultimately, I think I just wanted it to highlight that internal conflict of that need to kind of love yourself. And I feel like you can be so secure with someone and love them or love the idea of them, but ultimately how you feel about yourself will override everything.
Shout out Ivy. The film was amazing. I think it was really well thought out. And as you said, you spent months on it, which is crazy, but good on you guys. It turned out really, really well. And last year you released a track called Be Free, which is a song that stands up against oppression in today's society. And you collaborated with Ms. Marie, who's all the way from Canada. And how did that happen?
Yeah, wow. Oh, throwback. That project, Be Free, I definitely hold like so dear to my heart. And it was not birthed from a happy place by any means. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but we released that song or did that song post George Floyd's murder. And so it was a very, very hard, very dark time, like a very dark time. And I think everyone kind of experienced that. But ultimately, I think we just wanted to voice we wanted to tell our story. We wanted to contribute to the conversation. And I mean, in terms of how it came about, so Be Free, I'm not sure if you're aware, but that's J. Cole's song originally. For whatever reason, I went to that song during that time, and I would just have it on repeat, and I'd cry to it. And I do a lot of car jams. I'm not sure if you've seen like my Instagram, but I do a lot of I'll just jump in my car and do covers. At the time, I felt really inclined to just get into my car and record that Be Free, which was hard. Like the first 2-3 recordings, I was literally crying, but I'm like, no, I want to get this out. And I posted it, and a lot of people resonated with it. And I had actually written verses in the form of poems, if you will, that I was never intending on making a song out of. But after seeing the reception of that, I was like, actually, this conversation is so important. I have a voice, and I want to use that. And that's when I reached out to Mez, and I'm like, hey, like I've got a verse and chorus, a verse, 2 verses. Did you want to add to this? And he was like, yes. He wrote his section straight away. And yeah, that's how it kind of all came about. He suggested doing a visual, and I was like, what, a visual? Like I've never done that before. But we did, and him and his people shot their part in Toronto. We did our thing in Melbourne, and it was such a powerful time. Well, for me personally, it definitely was.
Wow, I mean, that song itself was so empowering for a lot of people all across the globe. And I think both you and Mez executed that song really, really well. There was nothing but positive comments. And when you are writing and recording music, what do you want the listener to get out of it?
That's a good question. I think, I mean, by default, so I only write on experiences that I myself have experienced, or feelings that I'm experiencing, and my emotions. So by default, every listener will get a glimpse into who I am as a person, and my story and my journey. And yeah, I think it's just an insight that a lot of people will never have if you don't listen to my music. Because as I said, like a lot of the things that I voice in my music, I'm not voicing in conversation, because music is very much my safe place, and that's where I kind of find my comfort and my escape. But yeah, I think the messaging is so important. I feel like I want listeners to walk away feeling encouraged. I want listeners to walk away feeling seen. I think that's super important, especially with Love Me. Like I was so overwhelmed by the amount of messages, and people literally saying like they were crying and bawling their eyes listening to it, and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, so you feel what I feel. Yeah, so like the message, but then on the flip side, obviously the music. Like I want people to appreciate the vocal production and the instrumentation and like the production as a whole. Like I want people to walk away and be like, damn, like that Soli girl, like I really mess with her music, you know? That's just as important. But I think, yeah, the messaging is something that I definitely value a lot in my music.
100%. And look, in every single song that you release, it's always immaculate vocals accompanied by a really deep and powerful message. And I feel like that's what all artists should strive for. And earlier this year, I saw footage of you performing at Let's Vibe. Yeah. I was like, why am I not there right now? The vibes look so immaculate. But when can we expect to see more live performances from you?
Yeah, soon. I hope really, really soon. I mean, right now I'm definitely focusing on the music. There definitely is an EP coming out next year, hopefully in like the first quarter, exclusive. Hopefully in the first quarter of like 2022. That's the plan. It definitely feels like there's been a lot of, I guess, challenges along the way, but I'm really hoping that, you know, God willing, if the time is right, then an EP will come out early next year. And then with that, of course, a show, my first, I guess, my debut show, which would be really, really exciting. That's definitely a goal of mine for 2022.
I'm looking forward to it. I've got my bank account saved up. I'm ready to splurge when you release this EP and go on tour. And, well, I guess that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you to you. I don't know if this is on video, but it doesn't even matter. Thank you to you, and thank you to like the team at WAEVZ. Like I love you guys so much.